Welcome to episode 76, the Battle of Yavin review, and a bunch of new pilots. Welcome to Planning Phase Syndicate, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight. We're going to finally break down the Battle of Yavin. Yes, I said Yavin just to piss everyone off a little bit and get everyone riled up for tonight's show. But we're going to go over the Battle of Yavin tonight and actually dig into what is the stuff that it talks about, what are my rules, what are the weird setups that we're going to have to deal with, and on top of that, we're going to be talking a little bit about some list building for it. I thought it would be interesting, and it was kind of something I wanted to do because we spent all this time during the week talking about list building and all these other things, and I know not everybody likes scenarios as much as I do, but I really am interested to learn what the Battle of Yavin is actually about and how it's going to kind of change the playscape. I believe personally, and this is just my opinion, that the big thing with it, right, is that we are going to be able to introduce new people. We're going to be able to bring people that have never played in to see a classic, one of the most classic battles ever. And it's going to give us a little bit of unique building. So we're going to do a little bit of a twist tonight. We're not just going to go over standard lists where the Rebels and the Empire. I created custom lists for these scenarios because for people like me who like to fly CIS, I don't care about putting Empire on the table as much as I just want to be able to put Grievous and a bunch of droids murdering things onto the table. With that being said, though, let's bring in my co-host for tonight. Please welcome to the stage JJ. His Giants can never seem to win. And George, his last episode as he prepares to move. Welcome to the show, everyone.
Yo.
I like to edit that statement as, the Giants are currently 7-2 and they won today. Granted, it was against one of the weakest team in the league right now, but still, we won. All right. Social respect, man.
So here little story here. This shows you how much I watch football and even pay attention to it. So there's that. I don't know anything about that. So
you should know that the Detroit Lions won. Okay.
Did they win this week? They won last week against the Packers. I know that because it was on at the hockey arena. But
wait, so they were playing football while the hockey game was going?
Oh yeah. It's all amateur. It's all kids hockey. It's all the kids hockey from the
okay. All right.
So they have it because you have to be there an hour early for setup. So your kids have to be there an hour early. So you drop them off, and what do? You could watch the other little kid teams that you don't care about, or you could watch the football in the thing. So they put it on. For people like me, I just worked on the show, so I didn't do either of those. And then when my nephew goes on the ice, I back the laptop up and kind of happily walk onto it. But a real quick story. So this weekend, my daughter we've been busy as all get out. My life has just been a nightmare. I am surprised we even had time to do the show this weekend, because my sister got married this week, right? And so I spent 3 days just dealing with wedding stuff. And then we went to Comic-Con because Comic-Con was this weekend, and they had the original X-Men animated series. They got a bunch of the people who did the voices to come in, and they had a whole panel for you, and it was free. So you just pay for your entrance fee, you go see the panel. It was great. That was one of my favorite shows growing up as a kid, was that one, the Spider-Man, and then the DC Batman animated series. Those are the 3 shows that were like staples for me after school.
Those are great, man. Absolutely great.
Bringing it back.
So I was very excited to be able to go see, and they did a whole panel on the animated series, and it was nice to put faces and stuff like that. Now, for $330, you could get a signed photo professionally taken, which I did not do. So I didn't have that kind of money, especially after a wedding weekend. There just was not money in it for me.
Jeez,
to take a picture with a voice actor.
With all 10 of them, yeah.
With all 10 of them. Yeah. Got it. Okay.
You can also use those $330 to buy all these new expansion packs that are coming out here for X.
Yep.
That's very true, JJ. And tonight we are very excited. So we are going to go through Battle of Yavin first because I really want to do that.
Yeah, let's do it.
But we do have a whole bunch of new packs and everything that came out, got released by AMG. And then somebody spoiled a bunch of stuff on Reddit. We are not going to post the link to where the spoilers are at, but we will share our stream document if people would like us to do that. So we could create a stream document that people can have in Google Docs, and you can share that around. But we're toting that edge with AMG. Not that we're gonna ever be like sponsored by AMG, but we are toting that fine line because we're doing release information on stuff we don't technically has not technically been shared with the public.
Yeah.
So but that might, hopefully that inspires them to work really hard this weekend and this week to get us all the rest of the spoilers for the rest of the pack. So, and I'm very excited about 2 CIS cards. And I just want to say, and JJ, you have to say this. Who was right? Who was right?
Okay.
Say it.
You were. Yeah, I'll say you were.
Say Chris was right. I want to hear you say it.
Chris was right about
Thank you.
that. Yes.
We're getting a fire spray with a force. We're not going to get into that yet. We will get to that. We're not going to get to it yet. But there, whoever does the little clipping things and can like edit JJ's head, I want that for the stream. Just like they have Nick saying it on Greg's stream. I want it for our stream. Nick, somebody out there, help me. Anyway, gents, hopefully you had a lovely weekend this weekend. Did either of you do anything fun?
So I got to see Black Panther. I won't spoil the movie. I would just simply say that I was generally not prepared for the intro and the ending of that movie. Fantastic film. Loved it very, very much. If you guys haven't seen it yet, highly suggest it. It was fantastic. Excited.
How about you, George? Did you do anything fun this weekend?
Yeah, I was playing. I wasn't playing. I was kind of just watching people play X-Wing this weekend. Yesterday, so hanging out with Crispy, Andrew Lippins, Jacob Browning, and Marcus Morton. Just one little small kind of get together. It was supposed to be an event, but it didn't turn out that way. But we ended up playing X-Wing anyways. Aside from that, like I've been playing a lot of Marvel Snap. I don't know if you've played that game.
I have not.
You would like it because I know you were into Destiny.
All right.
It's super quick, and the best part about it is like you don't really need to spend any money on it. All the money you spend is mostly for like variants of the cards that you get. So it's all about unlocking it as you play.
Is it like an online game or something?
Huh?
App. It's an app on the phone.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I do gotta ask George. I know that the last few days you guys had a hurricane pass by over there. Everybody okay over there?
Yeah. And I asked the players for X-Wing yesterday, and like they were fine. Like nobody got hit real bad, so that's good.
That's good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's very good to hear because that's always this time of year. It feels like the scary thing for Florida. It just seems.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, this is number 2, right? This is number 2 that's come through there. So, well, good. We're glad that you're okay, and we're glad you got to play some X-Wing this weekend. I will debate on getting that app because it sounds like an app that will suck my life away.
It will. Just a fair warning. It will.
Yes.
So, and I've been pretty anti-apps that are microtransaction-y. And I don't know. Do you watch Rick and Morty at all?
No, I don't.
Okay. There's an episode where there's this alien that comes and like stays in the house, and Jerry is kind of like a not super intelligent individual, right? And so Jerry goes, Jerry invites this into the house, and Rick says, "Hey, do not make a deal or talk to this alien." And what this alien does is he goes, "Would you like to make an app? I can help you make an app." And it's like this whole thing. And so then Jerry and him make this whole app that just turns into this catastrophe where everybody's like looking at their phone 24/7 and like matching. It's like Tinder on like crack cocaine. And like they swipe and they're like, "Oh, got a new soul match." Run. And I won't spoil the ending. Yeah, it's like Nick. I would be like Nick Sperry on steroids. Like, oh my god. Actually, Nick Sperry, that would be hilarious if he did a bit on that. But But that Marvel Snap reminds me of that. Like when you say it's like Destiny, and it's like, damn it, you're right. I love that game. And then you're like, it's a microtransaction app, and it's like, it's gonna get me.
They did good with it. So, but yeah, I warn you, you'll just get hooked. So don't do it.
All right. I spent enough time on X-Wing. Hopefully I won't get addicted. All right. So what I wanted to do to start the show off with is talk about the Battle of Yavin, right? So we got a new scenario pack. I don't know if this is going to see the light of day, right? Because this is 35 point, not the light of day, sorry, in tournaments, whether this is going to become a thing or not. But this would be a pretty cool, because at first I was a little bit down on it because it's like, this is only Rebels and Empire. But after I bought the pack and went through the rules, I actually found out you can create custom lists with this and play with whatever faction you have. I will tell you there's a Republic is probably not going to be very strong in this one, because you have if you play on the Rebel side, you have to have torpedoes. Like that is a mandatory thing to win the game. But Republic could play on the Empire side, right? So I don't know. Like to me, it was really. I have not been able to put this on the table yet, I will say, but I do technically have my CIS squad that we're going to cover tonight. That's my custom Empire squad. I have that specifically in my kit in case we do play. That way I don't have to pull all the Empire crap out, but I do have that. So I'm very excited about that. And yes, it has a Sun back in it, saying. And we're gonna get some of the other custom some of the other custom things inside of this scenario pack right now. All right. So here we have two condition cards. We have Yahoo, which we all know where that comes from, and we have Attack Run, right? And so we're gonna come back to these two cards in just a second. What I wanted to do is kind of say, hey, here you go. Here's kind of like your starting images for some of the cardboard. This was, I think, Velvet Buddha helped us with a couple of pictures. I think that's his stuff, if I'm not mistaken. And this is kind of the beginning to kind of show you. So that's a range 1 template, and that's kind of how wide it is. So that's a pretty, like, you're gonna have to do a good job getting into that attack run. What I wanted to start out with was squad building, because this is the piece that we always love about X-Wing, right? Is squad building. We love it. We think it's the best thing ever. And I feel here they gave us enough information to build custom squads out of this. So to begin with, they say the narrative is designed around standard loadout cards included in the pack. But if both players agree, squads may include other ships and upgrades as long as they follow the following restrictions. So to begin with, each squad must contain between 4 and 10 ships. So that's pretty good. That's a pretty big size. Your squad must total up to 35 points. It doesn't say that you have to have the 35. To me, that's more of a recommended piece here, right? Imperial squads, or anybody taking the Imperial side, can only have small ships, period. And they cannot include bombs. Rebel squads cannot include medium ships, but they may include one large ship. Obviously, the Falcon.
Or the Yahoo. Yeah.
Or Yahoo. All right. So JJ, you want to talk a little bit about the scenario setup?
Yeah, absolutely. So it plays on a 3x3 mat. So if you already have one of the regular mats, it will work just out fine here. You're going to place the exhaust port marker so that the widest side is touching the target board edge at range 3 from the Imperial board edge. Then place the first trench marker end to end with the exhaust port marker such that the narrow sides of both align, and then continue placing the trench markers end to end, creating like one giant line. And that basically signifies the trench that your ships have to go through to launch that proton torpedo to to end that there. So right off the bat, the Empire does have a little bit of an advantage point, or in this case, I would say probably the dark side, if you will, because they have the trench closer to their board edge, and the light side essentially has to travel farther in order to get to that trench area over there. Then on the rebel board edge, you don't place any obstacles. The rebel player must assign the Yahoo condition card to one friendly large ship, and the Imperial player must choose 3 small ships from their squad list and place them in reserve. Those ships will enter play later on in the game. Then both players will place their remaining ships into the play area in initiative order from low to highest, like normal. And the rebel player has the initiative, meaning they'll place their ships first within range 1 of their player edge and within the deployment zone, which is shown on the map there. And then the victory for the rebel or the light side player, they would win immediately if they destroyed the Death Star by shooting into the exhaust port. If during the end phase, the Imperial player wins if all rebel ships have been destroyed, and at the end of the 9th round, the Death Star commences the primary ignition, and the Imperial player wins. So that sets the hard time limit for the rebels to try to destroy the Death Star.
Yes. So I think if we go back to the deployment piece, and I think George and I may feel a little bit better about this because back in 2.0 days, droids were bunched together and ran that way. But I think it's interesting, and I haven't done this. So that's a 5 straight template, right? Or not a 5 straight template. It wouldn't be the 5. It would be the 3 range ruler, correct? Or is it going to be a 3 range ruler and a 2 range ruler?
Yeah, the 3 and the 2.
Okay,
That's
so
what it looks like.
All right, so that's actually a pretty big area to be able to place your ships in. So I think that's pretty good. So did you go over the placing of the forces?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So now let's talk a little bit about scenario rules. So George, you want to read over a few of the rules for us?
Yeah. So scenario feature. A feature is well, I don't need to read that part. Completely overlapping. So some of the rules here. So when it comes to overlapping, a ship that overlaps the scenario feature with an entire base is completely overlapping that scenario feature. The trench is a scenario feature made up of 7 trench markers and 1 exhaust port marker. These markers are placed into a play area during the setup according to the setup diagram, which JJ already spoke about. I have you now is starting with basically it starts in the 3rd round, and at the start of the system phase, the Imperial player may place their ships from the reserve into the play area. 1 ship is placed in the play area within range 1 of any board edge and beyond range 3 of any enemy ship. Then any remaining ship in the reserve are placed in the play area within range 1 of the first ship. Within range 1 of any board edge and beyond range 1 of any enemy ship. Okay. All ships must be placed in reserve during the system phase. After these ships are placed, the Imperial player sets a maneuver dial for each ship. Each ship and each ship gains 1 stress token. And that's for I have you now. And then for the attack run, starting on the 4th round at the start of the planning phase, the Rebel player may choose 1 friendly ship that is overlapping the template guidelines printed on each trench marker. The chosen ship is assigned attack run condition. Only 1 ship may be equipped with the attack run condition at a time. When the ship with an attack run condition, when a ship is assigned the attack run condition, place it completely overlapping the trench marker that is touching the neutral board edge, facing the exhaust port with its base guides aligned with the template guidelines printed on the trench marker. The ship must be placed as far away from the exhaust port as possible without overlapping another ship. If the ship cannot be placed on the trench marker that is touching the neutral board edge, move it towards the exhaust port along the trench marker guidelines until it can be placed.
All right. So can we stop right there?
Yeah,
because I think I want to go back to that's a lot of data. That's a lot of data. So let's go back to this. So if you're listening to this on the audio, we do have a video version. I will be editing this to be its own individual segment. Essentially, the nice piece about this, and this is where when we talk about, what is the Empire doing, what is the Rebels doing, and how do you kind of win some of these things, right? You don't have to run your ships towards the end of that exhaust port, right? And go right towards the Imperial players. You can run towards the end of that trench run on the right-hand side of the board because you're just going to get placed all the way back. And here's a little thing that we just learned, right? George said if you cannot be placed at the edge of the trench run, you need to be placed as far back in that trench run as you can. So, hear me out. So, starting turn 4, if you have your Y-wings or your X-wings so that they're coming in slowly and they cover part of that trench run, your Luke can start at least a quarter of the way up if you want him to, or your Wedge, whichever one you want, or your Jet Porkins. I don't care which one it is, right? That's pretty cool, right? Like it's nice that you aren't going to be able to enter the trench run at the beginning. Like you, even on turn 4, you can't just be right at the exhaust port, right? You have to be on the other side of the map. I really like that piece of this because that's very thematic, right? Like when we see, if I actually, while I was typing the episode up tonight, I was watching episode 4 again. Just because I don't know, I watched Star Wars
good.
so much, I guess.
It's good, yeah.
So my kids don't understand. They're like, "Haven't you seen this movie like 20 times, Dad?" Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
And so it's just funny because as you see them go into that exhaust port, and then all of a sudden here comes Vader behind. It's just so thematic. Now, the one thing it does not say is about enemy ships getting into the exhaust port, but we'll get to that and kind of see if they cover that or not, right? So far, does either of you have any questions before we move on to the exhaust port piece?
So, my mind was going to the whole the exhaust port thing because I'm probably jumping ahead with the Yahoo condition card. Imagine you block a big portion of that trench run with the large base and then a Y-wing on top of it. You're basically like halfway
Yes.
to the exhaust port. Like it's a little broken, but yeah.
I don't know if I agree. I don't think you're right. I don't think it's quite broken, but we'd have to put it on the table and see.
Yeah, exactly.
How it
Gotta
is.
test it out. Yeah.
So let's go through those 2 cards, right? Let's go through the 2 cards. So we're gonna go through the attack one, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the attack run card says when you're assigned this condition, you acquire a lock on the exhaust port, no matter what the range is. The lock cannot be broken or removed until this condition is removed from you. I think that's extremely important. It can be spent only to re-roll attack dice during a attack targeting the exhaust port or to recover force. You can only execute straight maneuvers. If you would execute a non-straight maneuver, gain a deplete token and execute a 2 instead. So essentially, you cannot hit the sides of this attack port, which I'm a little disappointed in. I'm a little disappointed if you decided you were not going to fly straight and you were going to pull some crazy weird stuff. I think you should blow up immediately. But that's just my opinion because that's what would happen. You cannot move or be moved except by executing your maneuver or performing a straight boost. So no tractor tokens, no ion tokens, so no reason to ionize the ships in there, right? Well, maybe ion.
Yeah, because you basically stop them going one straight, or you make them go one straight.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, they can't break their lock, but at least you're slowing them down. So
that's true. All right, ion's gonna be dirty in this. All right, that's why they say use only the cards in the pack. Anyway, while executing a red maneuver, check the difficulty step. Gain 1 deplete token instead of the stress token. That seems pretty cool to me too. Like I kind of like that piece of it. While defending, if the attacker is not overlapping the trench, you may roll 1 additional defense die. That to me seems extremely important. That means they have to get into that trench run to be able to attack you, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because essentially the trench run is acting as the obstacle, right? Because they're flying above and you're in the trench below. So they're trying to shoot down over the edge of the trench. So that would make sense. That would be like an obstructed attack, essentially. So
Yes. You may engage at initiative 0. Or you always engage at initiative 0. So that means you have to survive all the other attacks.
yep.
Um,
Vader shoots first.
Vader, Iden, Backstabber. Who else do we got there? Night Beast, everybody.
Mauler
Everybody shoots you.
yeah, Dark Curse.
Dark Curse.
Oh my gosh.
Mauler Mythal. Ugh. All right. Now, the other thing it says is you can only attack the exhaust port with proton or advanced proton torpedoes. I like that they included the advanced proton torpedoes. And when we get to the custom building, this is going to be very important. Before attacking, you may spend your lock on the exhaust port to recover all inactive force charges. After attacking the exhaust port, or if your maneuver would cause you to leave the play area, you must exit the trench. During the end phase, you may exit the trench. If you are not completely overlapping the trench, remove this condition. Seems pretty straightforward.
Mm-hmm.
So my only question is exiting the trench, right? I know that they mentioned it a little bit later on there, but it's like if you're shooting a proton torpedo, and you end up going within range 1 of that exhaust port, you basically can't shoot that proton torpedo, and then you got to be worried that you're one hard, which actually none of the Rebel ships have. If
None
you're
of the
strictly
X-Wing.
playing, none of the X-Wings or the Y-Wings, they don't have a hard 1.
Mhm.
I guess the hard 2 might have a little bit of space to make it if you're within range 1 of the exhaust port and you only have proton torpedoes. That's a tight turn to try to get out if you miss.
I think if you're at the range 1, you could still do the 2 hard and get out of there.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. We'd have to play with it. Maybe we'll do like a little play demo or something of it one of these times.
Yeah.
But at that point, are you even worried about losing your ship if you're?
Well, if you
You're-
won,
you're-
you don't. So
Yeah, you're at endgame.
well, yeah, that way you don't care. It does say you must exit the trench. So even if you would leave the play area, you must exit. So I'm guessing that it's allowing you to not fly off the board, right? Because logically you would be flying up and over out of the trench.
Yeah.
All right.
Unless you have a damage.
Unless you have a damage engine. Oh, well. You still can. All right. Who wants to go over the Yahoo card?
I got that one.
All right, go
Okay.
for it.
So Yahoo card here. This one is before the place forces step of the setup. The Rebel player may assign this condition to a friendly large ship. Setup, start in reserve. When you deploy, you may be placed beyond range 1 of any enemy ship. At the start of the engagement phase, if a friendly ship has been assigned the attack run condition card, you may be placed anywhere in play beyond range 1 of enemy ships. Then gain 1 strain token and 1 focus token. You engage at initiative 7. On the turn that you enter the play area, and then you remove this condition card during the end phase of the round where you enter play. So this essentially allows you to bring in that large base, have them come in and hit hard that first turn, hit fast, hopefully take down a ship that's possibly going to take out one of your ships, and then just basically try to clear that way for your ship doing the attack run on there. So that's a really good condition card.
All right. Exiting the trench. And this is going to answer your question, JJ. That's why I don't want to focus on it.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go. Let's go through the exit of the trench real quick. Just because it adds to JJ's thing, and then we'll talk about how we kill the trench or the exhaust port. Sorry. To exit the trench, when a ship exits the trench, replace the 1 hard maneuver template so that it is flush with either side of the exhaust port, and place the ship in its rear guides with the other side of the maneuver template. Remove the attack run condition card. If the ship cannot be placed using the one hard maneuver template, the ship is destroyed. So there is a little bit of caveat. If you can figure out how to get your X or your TIE fighters or your things right there at the edge so that they can't get out, you could kill an X-Wing, which I will hopefully none of my locals listen to this. That is my one and only goal. I don't care if I lose the whole thing, is to just watch an X-Wing fly off and just go and blow up.
What if you park your TIE fighters right at the exit of the trench or the exhaust port, so that way they can't complete? Yeah, they can't complete the exiting the trench. You crash. Yep. Oh man, that's terrible. It's so toxic.
All right, Toxic Tanner coming in, baby. It's that Tinder gods crap that I got going on there, I guess. All right, so George, tell us about the exhaust port and how we can blow up the Death Star.
Well, the exhaust port, being a scenario feature, it can be destroyed only as a result of an attack by a ship that has been assigned the attack run condition. As mentioned, ships cannot perform lock actions on the exhaust port. The following rules apply to attacking the exhaust port. So, the exhaust port can be attacked only with proton torpedoes or advanced proton torpedoes. While attacking the exhaust port, you may spend two force to change one eyeball to a crit. While attacking the exhaust port, if the attack dice show at least 2 crit results, the Death Star is destroyed.
So essentially, they want you to kill it with Luke.
Luke? Yeah, absolutely.
Kill it. That's what they want. No one else. Nobody else.
I mean, it's possible, but
he has the greatest chance. But yeah, you're right.
Now, so I think that's kind of the overhaul of the scenario. I will say, JJ, I think the probability of circling TIE fighters in that area and blocking those exit ports are pretty slim. I mean, you got to think, here's Han coming in from behind to just murder everything, right?
Exactly. Clear the way.
Know,
yep.
And if you don't use the boy Han and you want to create your own Han, you create a double tapping Han that just like,
oh my gosh,
like there you go. Sorry, you're gonna sit at the exit of the exhaust port. Here you go. I'm going to blow you up. That's what I'm gonna do. Oh, so, Iden's gonna save you? No, Iden's not gonna save you.
So and I know that we're about to jump into the list building aspect of it, but honestly, like one of the first things that I always wanted to try out with the scenario is actually making this like a Rebels themed like list to try to take down the Death Star by having Hera run in the B-wing, because she can equip those proton torpedoes and then have like the Ghost, like Kanan on the Ghost, come in as the large ship with the Yahoo condition and coming in and taking that range 1 5-die shot with veteran turret gunner. Oh man, that would be so good. And then you can use spend his force to reduce the dice of the enemy shooting back at the attack run
ship. That's pretty good.
The one time that the ghost cannon might find some use.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's talk list. How about this? Before we talk list, George, JJ, do you have any other questions or thoughts on the scenario?
No, I think it'll be interesting. I think we were talking about this yesterday, and I brought it up to JJ before. Whereas this might be a good scenario to bring, like, back in the day we used to run Top Gun tournaments, where it was like 2v2 scenarios. And the reason why I like this is because it already introduces like you having more ships than you normally have in a game. It keeps it. There's a mechanic in there. There's only one scenario, and it's good for like newer players to come and play with buddies that already have played X-Wing. So I think it's a good opportunity for new type of players to jump in, given the right, like store if they set it up properly, basically.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, absolutely. Like kind of similar to what you ran in Adepticon, Chris, that event where you're paired up with somebody else and you basically make half of the list. I think this scenario would be really, really great to run with this particular like scenario, like mixed in.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually, yeah, and I kind of brought it in the chat, but I have brought up at our locals that if we do this, it would be really fun to run that with somebody else. Like, because
Yeah.
it takes away my need to build it's like 10 ships, you know? Um, yeah, so I don't know. I think it'll be fun. I'm excited to try it personally. I would not be super excited to play this at a tournament, but I
No.
would say it would be fun if we did the duos thing like that with this scenario and did it as kind of a side event just for fun with some prize support. That would be
Yeah.
really cool. I hope Adepticon, Dion, Dion, it would be fun if he had this set up. So.
Oh, speaking of Dion, quick shout out. He did post in the GSP Discord that his wife Devin did go into labor today. So he's gonna have his second child. Congratulations to Dion and the Morales family over there. Hope you guys have a very healthy and happy baby.
And hopefully you name it something sweet. They haven't released the name yet, did they?
Nope, not yet.
Yeah. So
Give it a Star Wars name.
that's what I'm saying. My kids, my wife would not let me name them Star Wars names, but my first son is actually with my ex-wife is named after Monty Python, the Holy Grail. So there's that. She wouldn't let me give him the middle name I wanted though. I wanted to name him Montgomery Reznor, after Trent Reznor from Nine Inch Nails because that would at the time was my favorite band. And she's like, no, you can't have that. You can have Montgomery, but that's it. All right, let's talk lists a little bit. And we don't have to go into super detail, right? We don't have to do super detail. And for those of you who think we're only going to look at boy pilots in these lists, no. Because Tanner doesn't just want to play standardized cards. No offense to AMG. I really do like me some non-standardized cards, especially a Vader that I can pay one more point for and customize however I want. So the first list that we have here is an Empire list. So the idea is you can have up to 10 ships and none of them can be large based, and then they have to be up to 35 points. So I have Vader here with the standard loadout, basically the pattern analyzer, afterburners, fire control, elusive, and brilliant evasion, just so he doesn't die. The brilliant evasion again doesn't have to be used. You could use anything you want else. I did this just as a way to keep Vader alive a little bit longer because he will probably be more aggressive than normal. I have Iden in the TIE fighter because why not? With cluster missiles because I really need them. If we're gonna have all these damn ships on the table,
Yeah.
cluster missile stock went up in price.
Yeah, especially against like multiple Y-wings, those cluster missiles would be great. Yeah.
Yep. And I threw Backstabber in there, but you could put Dark Curse if you'd rather. But I did throw Backstabber in there. Mauler Mythal, I did use the boy one only because I feel that I feel in fairness that those afterburners on there is pretty great. For that.
And 4 hull.
And 4 hull, yep. So it's just getting that extra hull on that TIE fighter really made it a decision for me. Then I put Moff Gideon in there because why
Moff
not,
Gideon's
right?
So good, yes.
Yep. And cluster missiles and Deadman switch, right? So here we go. We're gonna do cluster missiles, Deadman switch, Moff Gideon. Then I put in there Sigma 5 boy, just because it has the jammer to try to jam any ships that are trying to help the trench run guy. Nash to keep one person alive. And I didn't know this, but Nash has missiles. Nash has missiles. I did not know this at all. Why is nobody running missiles on Nash? I don't know. And again, I chose cluster missiles just because, more shots. You have to give them the targeting computer. Then I have the Sigma 7. Which is Sigma 7. I don't remember which one that one is now. I think that's
a target lock one, I believe.
Yeah, the special target lock one. So I thought that was really cool. And then I have my own Gideon Hask, again with the Ruthless and the cluster missiles. Because when I have this many ships and their only goal is to get the exhaust port, why do I even care if I start Ruthlessing any of my ships? I don't care.
Yep. You want to win. That's what
I just want to win.
Yep.
And you're taking a lot of double shots mostly.
Yes, that was my goal.
Yeah.
Give me some double shot. Double shot TIE fighters.
Yeah, and I really do like this list. The hard thing for the Empire is just not having that coordinating piece, mainly because you can't really bring any medium bases according to the rules for the squad building aspect on the dark side. But other than that, I mean, you got a lot of offense here with a lot of evasive ships. So if the rebels decide to start using their ordnance on the Empire to start like mowing them down, they're gonna have their work cut out for them to try to take down these 3 agility ships that can do a lot of damage. So it's definitely a really good list to try to hunt down and actually compete with a lot of different factions. If you're planning to like improvise a little and use other factions to act as the light side in this scenario, this can definitely do a lot of damage and hunt a lot of ships down.
Yeah. One thing I didn't even realize. Wow, they skipped the obstacle step. I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
That's right there. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
So
no
there are no
obstacles.
rocks.
Nope. That's
Okay.
why running all these TIE fighters to me seems genius, right?
Yeah.
Because Mauler and Backstabber get the extra reroll or the extra dice for being at range 1 on each side of each other. Like, oh, here you go. Like, this is pretty good. Like to me, you bring in Vader and 2 of these Sigmas are the ones you hold in reserve,
Mhm.
and because they can be the fastest. You know, Vader being able to come in with those afterburners and just go whoosh, I'm coming in. Right around with those Sigmas seems pretty good. Pretty good. And yes, if TIE Phantoms were legal in standard, I would 100% run Phantoms. That
Oh
would
my
like
god, that's
no
gross.
questions.
Yeah,
I mean,
Like
you can always run an extended
we
voyage
could all
tournament.
that's
we
true.
could do that. Yeah, never thought about that. Did I post the same list twice? Am I that stupid? Yeah.
Yeah, you did.
All right. So we're gonna go on to the first Rebel one, and one of you can take the Rebel one, and I'll find my list for
Sure.
my other Empire list and get it in
Yeah.
the chat.
So I'll grab this one here. So this one here, we have Dutch Vander, the Battle of Yavin version with ion cannon turret, advanced protons, and targeting computer. Dex Tyree with dorsal, advanced protons, and R4. Garbin Dreys, Battle of Yavin version with APTs and R5K6. Jack Porkins, Battle of Yavin version with APTs, R5D8, and unstable sublight engines. The customized wedge and the T65 with marksmanship, proton torpedoes, R3 astromechs, munition failsafe, and the foils, Luke Skywalker, also with Lone Wolf proton torpedoes, R3 astromech, and munitions failsafe. And then the Battle of Yavin Han Solo with Chewbacca, Rick Cargo Chute, L3, 3/7 programming, and the title. This is definitely a really good list. The only change I would make would be Luke. I would probably just put elusive on him because it's going to be a very big squad, so it's going to be less likely for Luke to trigger the lone wolf reliably. Whereas elusive, you can get that more often, and then that should open up some points for like a force upgrade, maybe brilliant evasion, or maybe a different astromech. But yeah,
So
definitely a very solid list.
So just so you know, the only reason Lone Wolf was on there
Mhm.
was for the attack run. That was it. Just so you know ahead of time, like that was the logic in Lone Wolf.
If he's the only person, yeah. But even then, I mean, I would figure that if you're in the trench, you still gotta like check the area around range 2.
But on the other hand, to kind of counteract, like, what is it going to do? Both elusive I will only see happening once if he's in the attack run. Are you going to K-turn in the trench?
Right, but you got to go until turn 4 before you can even start the attack run, right? So you still have those first 4 rounds where you're still doing the scrum, that dogfight,
Yeah.
before you get into the trench, and I think you might be able to trigger that at least twice before you get into it. So it's a possibility. So.
Yeah. I got you now. I'm like in my head, I'm like in the trench already, and
Yeah,
so like
yeah.
the thought of Luke like just 4K in the trench.
He's like, I got you now.
Yeah.
It says only straight maneuvers, my friend.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you executed 2 straight.
That's true. That's true.
All right. So you want to, George? I'll let you take the next Empire list that I have here. This was the
Oh,
other
you
one I
changed it.
had.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, I put the real one.
It's the big one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So starting off, we got normal Darth Vader in the TIE X1 with brilliant evasion, elusive, popular, fire control system, and afterburners with pattern analyzer. We also have Rexler Brath and a defender with Juke, fire control system, and some more cluster missiles. Iden Versio with some ruthless, discipline, cluster missiles, and targeting computer. And we have Black Squadron Aces, the 2 of them. And then we have Backstabber with his loadout with Crackshot, Discipline, and Afterburners. Mauler Mythal, Predator Afterburners, Howlrunner with shield upgrade just to stay alive longer. And Moff Gideon with a Ruthless and cluster missiles with Deadman Switch. This is gonna hurt. I like that Rexler Brath is in here. That's awesome. With a defender, he's always gonna stay alive longer. He's got the cluster missiles, and he's just gonna be juking everybody.
Yeah. I have not seen anybody run a defender with cluster missiles and juke outside of Vader, right? And to me, it just seems fun. Like, I think the other list is probably a little bit better, but to me, this was like, hey, I could put a defender in here that never showed up at the Battle of Yavin. And it seems fun. And it's Rexler Brath, right? So, like, he can do almost anything.
Yeah.
And then the 2 Black Squadron Aces are to go with Vader to be thematic. That was the point, right? Be thematic. You can put the 2, they get put it in the reserves. I don't know.
No, I like it. And I mean, its body's on the ground, or body's in space rather. So I mean, who are they going to shoot at? Rexler, and then you got all these TIE fighters, kind of jumping in, and if they go after the TIE fighters, like Rexler's just going to chew them up with Darth Vader, of course.
Yeah, and I have a Howl Runner with a shield upgrade because that's exactly what she needs is a shield upgrade because I guess she has the points for it. So seems pretty silly to me to give Howl Runner a shield upgrade ability to have that. But hey, thanks AMG, I guess.
Yeah. Hey, take it if you get it, right?
Yep.
Yeah, why not?
All right.
I like this. I like this list a lot. I do like the appeal of the cluster missiles on Rexler. Although I don't know if I would go more for spike damage, but that's probably just like my personal preference. Is with the HLC, you could probably, especially in the trench, you could probably more reliably get that off. And although, okay, so the only problem I see with the TIE Defender is that you might get that initial shot on like somebody going into the trench, but if you're trying to go like a 3 straight or bank to still get your evade to trigger juke, you might overshoot them, or get yourself into like a bad spot. So like that's my only thing, but still, I love the cluster missile combo with juke. It's really good.
All right, the next Rebel list that we had was a little bit of a different one. We have Dutch with the boy upgrade, basically giving him APTs, ions, and targeting astromech, right? And then we have Garvin with his standard loadout, Jack with their standard loadout, Wedge I put with an R4, protons, munition failsafe, and marksmanship. You could drop the munitions failsafe and the marksmanship and go with elusive. That's the more common standard build. And I'm not opposed to that personally either. The marksmanship is just because what else are you going to do with that 1 point? So
actually, in the scenario, right, you need 2 critical results to blow it up. So and you're going 1 straight, right? So you're going to have that bullseye lined up on the exhaust port. So this pretty much guarantees that as long as Wedge still has 1 proton torpedo left, if he gets into range of that shot, you're pretty much guaranteed to blow up the Death Star if Wedge gets in there with marksmanship and proton torps.
Yep. Then the Luke that he had just ran. So, again, you could drop the Lone Wolf, go for something else. At this point, you should probably put marksmanship on Luke too. Then I guess.
Yeah.
Now that I think about it, like you don't need trick shot. You might as well put the marksmanship on there and then change up something else. This one I went for a modified Han Solo with Neonub, which we never see. But I really like Neonub on the Falcon. I know a lot of people don't. You could, I think you could fit L337 on there as well, which is probably the better upgrade, I think.
Not on the Rebel version. That's only scum.
Is it? Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
Never mind that. So I like Neonub better because Neonub turns all your banks blue no matter what.
Yeah.
You get Perceptive Co-Pilot, Veteran Turret Gunner, Tactical Scrambler, because the idea is to get your Falcon in there to kind of be defense for everything else. And then you get Kraken with APTs and munitions failsafe, because you can fit APTs, which I don't think anybody's been doing with Kraken, but you can put APTs on Kraken, and I found out plasma torpedoes don't work with this scenario. So
Yeah. I mean, you can also add in marksmanship. Yeah, why not?
Yep, you can do that too. You put marksmanship on there, and that's actually even better. That's probably what we should be doing, is just putting marksmanship on everything.
Yeah.
All right. So why don't we talk some custom lists? Well, first off, do you guys have any other suggestions or list changes for standard? And this is what I'm calling. And just so everybody knows, we have in our Discord, I have a channel that has 4 different threads in it where people can post your links to any of these different types of lists. And essentially, my standard Empire and Rebel builds are literally just Empire and Rebel builds. They don't need standardized cards. You can do whatever you want in those factions according to the rules. And then I have custom Empire and Rebel ones, which is anything that's outside of the normal faction. That's kind of the idea behind those.
Yeah.
So who wants the first Republic list?
I'll take this one here. This one here is, I would assume, a light side build because it does have a large base here. So we have
Yes.
Bo-Katan with clan training, the Night Owl Commandos, which is super spicy for this scenario. The Veteran Tail Gunner, Drop C Base, Swivel Wing, the Gauntlet Title, and C3PO. Then you have Obi-Wan Kenobi with CLT, Brilliant Invasion, and Shield Upgrade, Stub with APTs, R2D2 with APT, a fire control system, dorsal turret, and sync console, Warthog with elusive and APTs, Danae Ellenberger with fire control system and proton torpedoes, Rick Olay with marksmanship, fire control system, and proton torpedoes, and Mace Windu with heightened perception, R4P17, and calibrated laser targeting. Super great list. I actually like this list a lot here to give you a lot of options to go into the trench and go get that there. My only suggestion is because the N1s can go do the 5 straight, which will get them pretty far in the trench. You might get you might consider switching down the proton torpedoes to the APTs, and that way you can add in juke if you want to. If you want Rick Olay to be more of a brawler in the beginning part, but other than that, the proton torpedoes, pretty much, I think a 5 straight and a boost might get you. Now you still need 2 turns of traveling if you're all the way from the edge. If you start a little bit further out, you actually might be able to get that in 1 shot. So
yeah, seems pretty dirty to me. But and I'll be honest, Republic was the hardest one to build for. And I could not build. At least on the Rebel side, it was the hardest one to build for. Like,
yeah,
it has 1 large base. That's it. So I don't know. It was a little different take, but I thought those commandos would be hilariously spicy, right?
oh yeah, especially, you basically Yahoo, and then you drop your commandos as soon as you Yahoo onto the ships that you want to target, get the strain on them, and then take shots. Like, that is so good for Bo-Katan. I love it.
It's crazy.
All right.
Also, like, just thinking of flying all of these ships on my own, I'm already having a headache.
Come on. Didn't you ever used to run 8 droids back in the day?
No, actually. I didn't run droids back in the day when 2.0 came out. I was flying the TIE Swarm, and at that point it was just 6 ships. But yeah, I never got to like the maximum.
I played a few games of Epic with like a TIE fighter swarm. Yeah, trying to do all that at once. At least they had the big maneuvering tool, but like all this without a tool, it's chaotic, definitely.
Yeah.
Try running droid swarms in Epic.
Oh yeah,
No,
I've done that too. Yeah.
can't do it. I'll watch a game though.
All right. The last custom one we have for the Rebel side is a resistance list that I thought would be somewhat thematic as well. George, you want to take it?
Sure. Yeah. So we have in the large base ship we have Ray, um, in the YT 1300, of course, with patience, heroic, the Finn and Rose Tico combo, false coast transponders, Ray's Millennium Falcon, and then we also have three T-70s. One of them is Elo Asti, with heroic munitions failsafe. Can't talk right now. Munitions failsafe, integrated S foils, advanced proton torpedoes, and then we have Temin Wexley. This is the newer one, right?
Yeah.
Because the other one's Snap. I gotcha.
Yeah,
Uh,
this is the boosty
boost.
Wexley.
Okay. Um, heroic munitions failsafe, S foils, and advanced proton torpedoes. Nian Nun with heroic S foils and advanced proton torpedoes. And then we have two fireballs with Jarek Eager, heroic cluster missiles, false codes, and Kaz with R2D2 stealth device and Kaz's fireball title.
It could be a shield upgrade. You don't have to have stealth device. That's just Tanner being Mimi. That's all.
I actually, well, we'll come back to that one. I think that's fine. Kai in the T-70 is the last ship here, with heroic targeting synchronizer and S foils and advanced proton torpedoes. So this is a lot of hit hard and make it to the end game, with all these advanced proton torpedoes. But yeah, I kind of fear this list a little bit because it's gonna punch you so hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a bad day.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
these
what it
things can
does
go
is it
toe to toe.
forces you to go after the X-wings, right?
Hmm.
And then Ray's just going to eat you. Like
Yeah.
it's just Ray coming here to say, "Hey, do you want to live today? I don't think you do."
Now, who are you gonna send in the trench though? Who's your go-to in this sense?
Well, and this is where now that we've talked about the marksmanship, I think we have to start dropping the heroics on them and putting marksmanship on them. I think that's like a mandatory thing.
Um, I would agree with Elo Etsy dropping the munitions failsafe and doing that. I would actually make Neen more of the knife fighter and drop the APTs, just so you can concentrate on just thinning out the herd. For that, my go-to people in the trench is going to be Elo and Temin and Kai, to go in there to try to take down the exhaust port, but preferably Temin um, and Elo, just to go in there and try to take down take down the exhaust port and keep Kai out there to be a threat for the higher initiative ships. You do have quite of flexibility with this list, to engage the enemy before you go into the trench in there. But yeah, you're absolutely right with Ray. This is the ship that comes in and it's just going to destroy something as soon as it comes in. So yeah.
Yeah, to answer your question, George, my idea was Temin or Elo were the two of them that I would be putting in the trench. And it's only because Temin gets that free boost.
Yeah.
Even though it's only a straight boost, it's like having the other ship. You know, it's like having that attack speed or whatever that is on those other X-wings.
Yeah.
So,
it's essentially like a 6 straight with that, the 4 straight and the boost. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, the Empire custom builds that I have is a Grievous with a standard loadout, though I'll be honest, you probably don't need the outmaneuver. You could probably just kind of beef Grievous up a little bit there. And
I don't know. I think if Grievous is the one going in to like take out people in the trench, outmaneuver is going to be like gold. Honestly,
that's true. And then I put Seer in there with static discharge veins and Kraken because you could have that. And again, I shouldn't build these in extended, but it was just too much fun. If I'm going to do this, I wanted to do it in extended because static discharge veins is just so like dirty in itself. Because you now have Seer coming around, and if you don't kill Seer, they're just going to be using that all the time during those turns, you know?
yeah.
Then I have 3 droids with discords, which seems even worse.
Golly.
Because
just
you
launch
can't
them in this
barrel.
trench.
Yep,
So
you can't barrel.
Those 3 droids would be the ones that I would assign the "I got you now," because as soon as they deploy, my first action is to deploy all those Discord missiles right in the middle of the trench. Good luck.
Sorry, I don't. All right, I know you're not supposed to play the other. This is why I tell you not to play the other ones. But this it's just amazing. Like, oh, and then oh my god, and then I have DFS 81 with energy shells, 2 Bactoid prototypes, and I opted for cluster missiles, George, which is crazy, right? But I opted for cluster missiles and energy shells. So I am going to always have
A 3
extra
die. Yeah.
extra shots with these stupid things. Um and then and then Cad Bane with cluster missiles, overtune modulators, FTC, treacherous because you should always run treacherous, and an ion cannon to go right along with Grievous for whoever gets into that trench. And then Sunfac, because even though I can't use Sunfac to give a tractor token and move somebody out of the trench, I could still give them the tractor token to reduce their agility and then have Grievous shooting behind them too.
Oh yeah.
Which
Outmaneuver.
yeah, which just
That
good.
is nasty, actually.
Your Luke, no, goodbye to your Luke. Your Luke is not making it down that trench run. Like, is gone.
So
Sorry.
I do love the inclusion of Treacherous on this because there's going to be so many ships on the board that you're going to be able to trigger Treacherous so consistently and just give away hits to other ships that are in the path, especially if it's another enemy ship that can just suffer that. Oh my gosh, that is actually really, really good on Sunback.
Cad's ability also will it's going to trigger a lot with so
Every
many
turn.
droids. Yeah.
Every turn. That's the goal.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So now you got a double modified Cad Bane, and because Rebels all are going to shoot before you anyway. I mean, there you go. The other thing I thought about with Cad is putting on Hondo, because I think that's really dirty in this environment, is because Cad triggers, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then he's just gonna Hondo, and he's just gonna be like Hondo, and then all of a sudden Grievous, gets something. Now gets a focus maybe, or you get to jam, some of these other ships, or I don't know. Like, it just seems you give target locks. I think the one thing I would change about this is dumping independent calculates. I think I immediately get rid of those and say everybody's just network, no questions asked.
Yeah,
I
you
think
could do,
network's
yeah.
the way to go.
Yeah, I agree. Now, I would actually probably include some of the Siege Coruscant vultures in here, but we'll get to that when we go over those cards there. So the next list that we have here is the First Order version for the Dark Side list for this one here. So we start off here with Kylo Ren and the TIE Whisperer with Instinctive Aim, Shattering Shot, Predator, Concussion Missiles, Optics, and Munitions Failsafe with the Jamming Suite. Whirlwind with actually that's a mistake there. Whoops, I forgot to add his stuff there. But I would equip them with Pattern Analyzer, Proud Tradition, Fanatical, and probably Optics on them.
Yes.
Yeah.
100% optics.
Yeah, optics on World 1 there. Ember here in the TIE BA Interceptor with Fanatical, Marksmanship, and Advanced Optics. Scorch with Fanatical, Proud Tradition, and Advanced Optics. Commander Malorus with Cluster Missiles. That's all she needs. Nightfall with Daredevil and Proton Rockets. Null with Predator and Targeting Synchronizer. And the reason for the Targeting Synchronizer is getting that target lock at Initiative 7 allows you to basically open up all these missiles for everybody else. So that helps them like designate a particular ship where all the ordnance go into them. We get Phasma here with Predator, Fire Control System, Pattern Analyzer, and Special Forces Gunner. And then Backdraft with Proud Tradition, Concussion Missiles, DT-798, and Munitions Failsafe to round off that list. The reason why I went specifically with this gunner here with Backdraft is that you get to give out a strain when you engage, and then if you have Targeting Synchronizer with Null, you'll be able to shoot that 3 dice attack out the front. And if you have somebody in your rear, then you just use Backdraft's ability to shoot 3 dice. So this basically enables Backdraft to always have that 3 gun attack or 3 die attack, either out the front or the back, and do some damage here. This definitely can cover a lot of ground, and these are tanky ships that can stay in the fight for a pretty long time and deal some damage.
Yeah, the only change I would make is I would put Quick Draw in here, no questions asked.
I consider that, like, I would drop probably Null and probably Scorch for Quick Draw for the 6 points. But I think that being able to block and deny your opponent's actions is a big deal in this particular scenario. So just having more bodies on the board does help, especially if they can also be 3 die gun attacks. But yeah, I did want to try to fit Quick Draw on this list. But yeah, it's just more bodies is probably better.
All right, so I think that does it for our discussion on the Battle of Yavin. Does either of you have anything else they want to add before we move on to the newer cards?
I know for the viewers that are probably keeping track, Scum as probably wasn't included in here. I actually had a hard time trying to make a list here in Scum for specifically like the light side. The only proton torpedo carriers that I could really think of were the Y-Wings, which were not very good, and the M3As, which you can get a hand, maybe 2 that I can think of off the top of my head that can carry that. But beyond that, most of the ships are going to be medium bases, which you can't really bring in this scenario, and you can bring only 1 large base, which would be most likely a Gauntlet or like Dengar. Or maybe even Han Falcon, but it's not as effective without obstacles. So I had a hard time building Scum for the light side. On the dark side, you're limited to small bases. So again, it just doesn't feel as efficient or as effective as other factions. Did you guys have any thoughts?
I think with Scum, if you open it to extended, it does. But
okay. Well, like the
you
Kirax?
have to, yeah, because you can put your Kiraxes in, right?
Star
whatever.
Vipers.
Yeah, the Mist Hunter become no, that's a medium base, isn't it? Yeah.
Star Vipers at least can carry torps, but
yeah,
it's 5 points minimum or more. So
yeah, so I think I had the same issue. That's why I didn't do anything for Scum for now, is because I didn't know how to put it in there, and make it viable. But again, we haven't put any of them on the table, so I don't know until we actually play test that.
Are you not looking at like the Fang Fighters at all?
Do you want them to pop?
I don't know if they have enough. I don't know if they have enough loadout to carry ordnance reliably.
No, just put Fenrau in there with a Torb. That's all you're going to send in with a couple of Mandalorian Royal Guards, and you're good.
You know what? That's not a bad idea, but still, that's like half your points alone right there. Like, yeah.
No, I get you. Yeah, it is tough. Definitely.
What the heck?
I think JJ turned his video off.
My camera just failed.
Oh no!
All right, so that was it for our Battle of Yavin. Sorry if it took longer than normal, but I like I said, I really wanted to get into this because I felt it was worth a look at, and I think it's worth putting on the table and testing out for that. With that being said, let's move into some of the newer cards that we have here. We have new cards, and we will be able to talk about the official AMG spoilers first, and then we'll kind of get into some of the other ones in the background. I will tell you, I'm very disappointed that something in the background blew up from behind a Federation drone right there. So I don't like that. But I do see two Tri-Fighters coming in there, somehow continuing to miss Addie Galen. Galia? Galia?
Galia, yeah.
Galia? Gadia? There you go. Maybe that's it. Gadia. Gadia. Jedi are hard to hit. Well, they shouldn't be, damn it. All right. Who wants to take Addie as the first shooting star? George, you get it. We're giving it to George. I'm gonna make George talk about ships he never flies.
Yeah, exactly. While you defend at attack, while you defend at attack range 1, you may spend 1 force. If you do, the attacker cannot apply the range bonus. While you perform an attack against a defender at range 3, you may spend a force. If you do, the defender cannot apply a range bonus. Where have I seen this ability? Or similar?
Inquisitor.
Grand Inquisitor.
Yeah. It was a trick question.
Does Addie become Grand Inquisitor? Maybe.
No. Okay. And then we have, so they're the same.
Screw you,
Are they
JJ.
the same?
What's that?
Oh, I just see a 7B and Delta 7.
Yeah, they're the same.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Audi Galiska by Savage Press in Clone War series. Yeah.
So I think this is pretty fun. You're gonna have to put patience, I think, on them to get it to work. Now I have a question. Like, if you have click in the list, can click do it for the one churn, right? And then you use Addie's ability for the second churn? Because click only lasts for one shot, right?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, because he only has one charge, so you can do that for the first one, and then for the second one, Audie can spend her force to apply the effect again. Or her effect, I should say.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So to me, this actually seems pretty like this is like an Iden type ship that we're talking about right here. You're gonna take your you're gonna sit there and take your your focus token. You want to get coordinated. You're an I-5. You're gonna essentially be probably taking patience, is my guess. And you're just there to live and get objectives. That's my assumption.
Yeah,
I like it. I think it's pretty cool, personally. Here's the issue, though. You're not going to be able to fine-tune control and use your ability like more than once every 2 turns.
Yeah.
And that's if you're lucky.
We also have to see what the loadout's going to be too. So,
I think patience is a max. Oh, guess what's this is good to get Yoda in the list. Somebody put Yoda.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. Is that either flying Yoda as a crew on a lat or on a gauntlet is a solid option to help boost her effect, or having him in the Ada as an option as well is really, really good to help supplement her ability. Yeah,
like it. Well, here's the one, JJ. You can have the one that everybody's talking about, and I'm not happy about this one. But let's go through it.
So I'm going to start off by pointing out the obvious, because this is something that has been posted on a lot of Discords here. The attack arc on this particular card shows as front arc only. I guarantee that this is a typo. It should be a turret arc, just so fire convergence can actually work on this one here. We got that out of the way. Now let's go into the ability. So this is an Initiative 2 LAT. It reads, after you execute a basic maneuver, you may assign the Sickening Maneuver condition to yourself. Sickening Maneuver reads, you can execute red maneuvers even while stressed. After you reveal a bank or a turn maneuver, you must gain 1 strain token and execute that maneuver as a side slip. After you reveal a one straight maneuver, you must execute that maneuver as a red Kyogen turn. After you execute a maneuver, you remove this condition card. So this works very much like the HMPs, the their gear that lets them do the side slip. So you basically have to recharge this every other turn after you're doing a basic maneuver with this one here. Really, really excellent card. You can essentially, actually, if you need to, do a full stop twice with this ship. It is really, really good. This definitely gets the lat into a lot of different positions to either hold objectives if you need to, specifically like assault on the satellite array as a medium base. This is very, very good. Or if you need to block somebody to prevent them from getting actions for like scramble the transmission, this is also extremely, extremely good. At Initiative 2, you're going to be able to block a lot of ships.
Mm-hmm.
You can do a turnaround maneuver with a lat now.
Mm-hmm.
This lat can turn around.
And it has a 4 straight white, right? Or is it 3 straight?
There's 3 straight, I believe.
It's the 3 straight, yeah.
Still, that's really good for a lat.
It's a mini frickin' defender without the evade. That's what that is.
Yeah.
And it says you can execute red maneuvers even while stressed. You won't be able to take an action, but you can do a 4K. You're just going to have 2 stress on you. After you reveal a straight maneuver, you may execute that maneuver as a red K turn, right? You can execute red maneuvers even while stressed. This stupid thing is going to be able to literally do any sort of K turn that's on its dial, double stops, and side slips. F this stupid lat. Who thought this was a good fucking idea? I hope they give it 5 loadout points.
On a medium base. I'm glad it's only one pilot, because damn.
Yeah, can you imagine if this was on any oh, you can assign this to any ship? Like, could you imagine? Here's Mace doing 2 4Ks or 2 5Ks in a row. Like,
I know you guys are not Republic players, but would you consider this particular pilot to be more of an offensive lat instead of a support lat? Assuming that points are not an issue.
No, I would actually still use it as a support lat. This does is makes it so you have your 3 points back from Agile Gunner. You don't need Agile Gunner with this thing really, because you can either side slip or K-turn. So no, I still think no, because I think the problem becomes is barrage rockets are the smart thing to put on there, but you're not going to be able to do that because if you do your turnaround maneuvers, you're going to have issues getting focuses and getting coordinated, right? So I still see this as a defensive piece, but I see this as a defensive piece that says I no longer care about having Agile Gunner as much on this ship. I just don't, because I can make it so that my arc is always pointed in a direction that it wants to go.
It's hard for me to say because, like, I don't really play Republic, so very difficult for me.
I think this is going to be 6 points too, is my guess.
I don't know. I think this is a 5. It's still an I2.
I don't care. Get out of here, JJ. Where's Greg? Greg, hold on. Let me summon Greg a minute. It's not me giving crazy points numbers.
What's the normal cost? Like 5, I believe, right? Like that's the starting point is 5.
No, Hawk is the only 5.1 other than the unnamed ones.
Oh, okay. I mean, it's a 2.
I think they make it 6 points and they give it 18 loadout. That's what I say. Yeah, and because you don't need the Agile Gunner, it's technically a better version of Hound. If this comes in at 5 points, you could run this and Hawk together. So we did talk about the misprint. Yes, we did, because we don't we can't. Like, I'll tell you what. How about this? If they really just say it no longer has bow tie arcs and it's only the front arc only, You can have it at 5 points. I don't care then. It has to be a misprint. There's no way it's not. Like it would be so crazy if it's not a misprint. Ugh. All right, let's move on to the next one. We have a new V19 turret coming in called Slammer. After you fully execute a maneuver, you may spend 2 energy to perform a slam action, even while stressed. I think this becomes an objective getter. It's an I1. It can be used as a blocker. It can be used to get behind different things. I think if they bring this in at 3 points, I think that this ship will have a lot of play contention for some of those V wings. I like this ship a lot, actually.
Yeah, so just to kind of get an idea of the power of this particular ship, you can execute a 3K and then slam into a 3 blue and clear your stress with that, or you can do this something similarly with the 2 Talon that the ship has and do a 2 straight slam and clear that that stress with that, and then perform your regular perform action step with like a barrel roll into evade after that. Really, really
Yeah.
good.
And I think this ship right here, like this ship you run with Hound, because you can get rid of your disarm token,
Yes.
and then shoot. And Desi, I
Yes.
agree with you. Please do not give this ship a double missile slot. Just let them run clusters. That's fine. You can have cluster missiles. You can have concussion missiles. You can have mag pulse. You can have ion missiles. But please, 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 do not do that. I thought that is Hound deplete only.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, never mind then. Everybody will run
Yeah.
this. But I still think it's really good. I think this is a good objective getter, personally.
You can run Plo Koon and get rid of it, but then again, Plo Koon becomes disabled. So, I mean, yeah.
All right. Who wants to do the next one?
I'll grab this one here. So this one is Gavin Sykes in the Naboo N1 Starfighter. While you defend or perform an attack, if the speed of your reveal maneuver is greater than your enemy ships, you may re-roll your blank results. This works for both offense and defense. Really, really good there. This makes it a very effective attacker for the N1. So obviously, you probably want to put some ordnance on this if you can. With torpedoes, this will be a very, very good I3 attacker, especially if you're going fast and you get that free evade. If this even has enough room for ordnance and like juke, this thing is gonna be a menace at I3. Definitely really, really good. I like it.
Yeah, I think at least it being an I3 is good. And, with only the 2 green dice, if it doesn't get ordnance, then if it gets no ordnance, then I think this is a okay ship, right? Once you start getting to the proton torpedoes, or APTs, I get a little bit more concerned with it. But if you could run, even if they only had enough loadout to run ion torpedoes,
Yeah,
I think that is I like that piece of it, I guess.
Yeah, this with ion torpedoes is exactly what I was thinking of, just to be that control piece on the board. This will essentially prevent your enemies from being able to like scramble transmissions or pick up crates, and that way you control where they're gonna go, or you can also like set up a homing torpedo and for salvage and make them drop that crate. So yeah.
All right, George, why don't you tell us about Kit Fisto?
Wasn't he a Jedi? He got killed.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Wasn't he green with
smiley,
big buggy eyes?
Yeah, big eyes, smiler. Yes,
by Palpatine. Yes. So his ability says, while another friendly ship defends, if the attacker is in its bullseye, you may spend 1 force to change one of the defender's blank results to a focus result.
I don't like it. I think it's dumb.
First, maybe I have to. I can't wrap my head around this one. Why would I want to turn a blank result to a focus result?
It's for the defender. So so think about it this way. If let's say Plo Koon is getting
friendly ship.
shot
My
at.
bad.
Yeah.
My bad. My
Yeah,
bad. Okay.
friendly
Yeah.
ship.
Gotcha. So, I mean, you still have to get this in the
Yeah, I
the
mean,
right positioning. So it's kind of
in, Ma-
tough.
in Magical Christmas Land, this is like the anti Django Fett tech, right?
Hmm.
Because Django will modify your die first, and then you can Kid Fisto that back into a focus. Um, so, I mean, that's probably the best usefulness for that. But other than that, I mean, if you need to keep a ship alive, Kit Fisto is definitely really good at being able to keep those ships alive, assuming that they have mods to change that focus.
Yeah. And the only nice thing about it is there's no range restriction, right? So
Yeah.
Kit Fist again. This could be a Kit Fisto that says, I'm gonna do 0 attacking and just fly around and collect objectives and things like that. Like, I mean, if you think about it, you could take the evade, with it. You could put brilliant evasion on, and patience is my guess. That's what I'm hoping is he gets a double force slot, a talent slot, right? So that I could take my, I would like to be able to take the ability to take the patience and brilliant evasion and an evade every turn. And then basically I have 2 force to spend every turn. I can still do intuitive controls and I can still do my ability. And if I have patience, I can maybe do my ability, twice in a round. If I get lucky, So I don't know.
So here's a question: at 5 points, does the C play?
No, absolutely not.
It would have to
No.
be 4 points in order for it to C play.
Yeah,
Um,
100. Yes, in my opinion, yes. Go ahead, George.
I mean, I like the fact that it has it's a white evade,
Yeah,
But it's
right?
got 3 health,
yeah.
and you're
But it
It's
has,
not
spending
the
your
least
force to
parts.
help everybody else.
or you
You
don't.
can,
I don't know.
and on
Or you
top of that,
don't.
and keep in mind, Kid Fisto cannot do this on himself. It's another friendly ship.
Yeah, but you can still spend force natively defensively, right? On for
Yeah,
Yeah,
yourself.
you can.
yeah.
Yes.
So, like I said, I probably wouldn't use his ability. Like I would just use him as his own ship, and just it's a good. It's 3 health, but an evade goes a long way when you have force backing you up.
Yeah. I would
Uh,
honestly see this played alongside Padme and Luminara, since it plays around with like focus results and stuff. But beyond that, I mean, offensively, um, I mean, the ship needs a lot of help to be consistent on offense, which typically offense does tend to win you the game. Um, but yeah,
you know what you know what, George? This
Hmm.
ship dies to Grievous. It's a I4, and here comes Grievous.
Don't
Grievous
say,
goes,
don't
"Oh,
say that. Let
bye."
people play this.
No one's gonna play it. Nobody wants to play this. I don't want to play this at all. I don't want to play this.
yeah.
I would just use him for his I4, maybe evade, and just don't even use his. I don't even look at his ability. His ability is blank to me, for
Yeah.
my opinion.
JJ at 5 points. This is a dead on arrival ship. Nobody
Yes,
flies it.
especially when you consider the Siege of Coruscant arcs right now that
Yeah.
are super scary.
Hmm.
So yeah,
All right, so that's all the AMG stuff that was released. Now we're gonna get into some of the Reddit spoiled cards, which there was so
oh
many
many, yeah,
cards spoiled. And this one here, and you're gonna take this one, JJ, because this one here,
yes,
holy crap.
yes,
Holy crap. Especially if this comes in at 4 points.
yes.
This
So
card changes everything.
it does. So we got Agent Tyranny for the First Order flying the She class shuttle. The ability reads after setup, during setup, after placing forces, you must assign the broken trust condition to an enemy ship. The broken trust condition reads treat friendly ships as allied, non enemy ships treat you as allied. While performing an attack before declaring the defender, each allied ship in the attack arc that is not stressed gains 1 stress token. After you defend or perform an attack, if the defender was dealt at least 1 face-up damage card or was destroyed, you remove this condition. This at I3, man, this is going to be a really, really good card. Just being able to pass out stress tokens for her ability with Broken Trust. I mean, I like this card a lot. I am concerned to see like how much loadout they're going to give this out here, because I would absolutely love to see be able to give it to actually maybe run a second C class shuttle. We'll run this with Terex and feedback array, just to like bump other ships and then just deal damage passively with that. That would be really, really fun to do. But yeah, I like this ship a lot.
All right. Lieutenant Gaelic is an I-5 TIE-FO. After another friendly ship at range 0 to 2 is destroyed, you may perform a coordinate action even while stressed. While you coordinate, the ship you choose may perform an action only if that action is also on your action bar. I think this is really good too. Like, especially if this comes in at 3 points, you could give me no loadout and I would run this ship at 3 points all day long over almost anything else. It's an I-5, and again, his ability is not going to proc that often. In FO, you don't get to run 8 ships, but it'll proc at least 3 times a game, is my guess, unless you get killed. So,
assuming that you get the loadout points for this, you can actually put on angle deflectors on this and get the reinforce action added to your action bar. So you can now give out reinforces to your friendlies using this card, this pilot. That is crazy good. Like you get your Kylo Ren in the jam, and you send in TN 180 something to suffer a crit to like modify one of his things, and then you just give Kylo a reinforce there. Like, my God, so good.
I don't see this being 3 points though. I see it being 4. That's not, I think we're starting.
You're probably right, but I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see. Good. Too good.
All right, DT798. Yeah. Who wants that one?
DT798. While you perform a primary attack, if you are not strained, you may gain 1 strain token to roll 1 additional die.
It's Scorch 2.0.
Why not? Yeah, it's 2.0 Scorch. That's not as bad. I like it. I think in the right situation, I4, I think strain is fine. So over stress, it keeps your dial open too. So
I think this becomes an if this is 3 points, this is an auto include in this and Scorch become like mandatory for those lists, because I mean this which I'm a little excited about if they do that, right? Because this kind of goes a little bit beyond us needing Malorus anymore. Yes, Malorus is nice because you can get, different attacks and you get the other munitions pieces of it, right? But this right here, just this put this and Scorch together, I really like it. One gets a strain, one gets a stress. Who you gonna shoot at? They all get 3 dice. Seems pretty good to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, JJ, take the next one. Primed for speed.
Yeah, so this one here is an I3 TIE FO fighter, Lin Gava. The pilot reads, set up after placing forces, assign the prime for speed condition to yourself and up to 2 other friendly TIE FO or TIE SF fighters that have no equipped modification upgrades. Prime for speed reads, add a white slam action to your action bar. After you perform a slam action, you must suffer 1 hit or 1 regular damage to remove 1 disarm token on this one. This gets automatically paired with quick draw. You slam quick draw with with 5 straight into a 5 straight, and then he just shoots his ability right off the bat. Boom. You get quick draw right in the face, like right there. This is so great for an alpha strike, especially if you can add in also like Kylo with the center scrambler. He decloaks forward and then does a 5 straight into first to back up quick draw.
No.
Yeah, turn 1, I'm in your face. If you
I
left
mean-
anybody by themselves, they're gone. So,
Not only that, but like you can also like fanatical also becomes viable.
oh
which
my
is-
god, I didn't even think about that. Fanatical. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, this is really good. I like this a lot, especially if you can add a coordinator to make sure that those ships get mods ahead of time before they slam.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I need to know what the cost is for this, because if this also comes in at 3 points, oh my god! Like we just like I don't think this can come in at 3 points. I think this has to be a 4-point ship. But this like we have a tournament coming up in December, and if this pack is released before our tournament, this
Yeah,
ship is legal.
Black Friday.
Yeah, supposedly.
Yeah.
But we've already like we actually he's on your team. So as soon as they release points for this, I guarantee you don't have him running FO, do you, Brendan? You need to get
Currently,
Brendan
no.
on FO. You were crazy
Yeah.
for not like Brendan runs FO. He does run Scum too, but he runs FO as well. And you need to get Brendan on FO, because in Greg's league, as soon as we get points for this, we be getting this. So, and this is going to
Yeah.
change. This is going to change FO, in my opinion, like
Yeah.
pretty hardcore.
Yeah, this is definitely the future for the First Order. They're gonna go away from the bombers into now this archetype that's gonna include all these TIE fighters, especially
5 or
if they're
6
3
TIE
points.
fighters. Oh my god.
Oh man, this is like the Neo Imperial Swarm.
Ugh. All right. Well, hey, you know what? Change is good, right?
Yeah.
So the next one, I'm gonna give to George because I don't want to butcher the name and get made fun of. So
Oh, so now I'm gonna get okay. So this one we have Taka Jamdrisa. We'll go with that. After you jam, you must assign 1 jam token to another ship at range 0 to 1 of the jam ship, if able. Jam is nice. Why not? It's
Yeah.
I mean,
You
it's
get this
initiative
in,
too. You're almost. I
Yeah.
think you can hit it quite often.
I
Yeah,
hate it.
agreed.
I hate this card. I think this
I-
card is dead on arrival.
I don't know. It's gonna depend on the points, definitely.
Yeah,
right?
my only
But this
issue is the points because they're usually like 5, right? Starting out.
No, they have
some of them are 4 actually.
Some of them are
Yeah,
4?
some of them are 4. Pamich is 4.
Okay.
So they natively come with either cannon slot or a torp slot. So you can easily equip one of those on there. Obviously the dial's trash, but after the initial scrum, this thing can reverse and
Nah.
and if you have pattern analyzer on this, you can easily jam 2 ships pretty easily with this. And it'll probably deny a lot of actions for, or at least tokens for your enemy if it's in range.
I'll tell you what. Give it to me at 3 points and get rid of Fenn out of play, and you give me this at 3 points with 10 loadout. I like that. Get rid of Fenn. Get rid of Fenn. AMG. Somebody who the hell who listens to our podcast that does that plays playtests for AMG. Tell them to get rid of Fenn. We don't need Fenn in Resistance anymore. Give me this ship at 3 points. Give me
But
this
wait,
ship at 3 points.
Finn hasn't won any major events. It's like Defender Vader.
I don't care. Fenn is a negative play experience. Defender Vader is not.
Yes.
And if you kill Vader, you get 9 points. If I kill Finn, I get 3 points. I don't care. He's
And
a
they
negative
drop,
play
they
experience.
drop the box.
They dropped the box. Yeah.
Ugh. All right. I don't like this one. I'll be honest. I don't. I see your point, JJ, but
Yeah.
I don't. If there was a way to make that, if that jam was white, I think it would be a little bit different then. But with that jam being red, like now you have to staple R4 on. no matter what. R4 has to be on there, and R4 went up in points.
Yeah.
So now I gotta have R4 on here, and I'm still using my action to jam. And once I get into the scrum, if I'm not careful, I'm screwed. So I don't like it. I don't like it at all. But I guess we'll see. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't think I am though. I think I'm spot on with this one. I was spot on with another one.
But if you're jamming and you can possibly hit 2, it's worth. You're definitely got something there, because even if you get up in a bad position, like, they're not going to have tokens to attack you. Well,
sure.
so,
Sure. With my 1 green agility,
I'm not going to sell you on this. Never mind.
you're never gonna. I'm sorry. I don't like the resistance transport ships. I think they're poorly designed. Personally, if it's my opinion, they're personally poorly designed.
Hey, I've made it to a top order regional with Nodin. They have their uses. They're not overly offensive.
In 2.0, not in 2.5.
You're right. Yeah, you're absolutely right. But yeah,
it's not Reaper good. The Reapers are good.
There you go.
Yes, the Reapers are good. Yeah.
This again, if this was designed a little bit differently with some more blues, and maybe one of the backups being white and a white jam, okay, we could talk then. I get your point, George. Like, I do agree with you. Double jam is even for the stress is still pretty bitchin', right? Like, I won't disagree with that. But if I back up with pattern analyzer, I know I'm double stressed. I'm just screwed. Like, it just to me, this just doesn't work very well.
I mean, the other part you got to consider is the crew that they have. The name escapes me, but basically, if you execute a blue maneuver, you get rid of all your stress. So that also gets stapled on. Yeah, Corsella, that's the one. So that is a crew that came out with this particular ship and is absolutely like instrumental. If you're running like Nodin, and I would expect this particular pilot as well, just to get rid of all that stress, so you can reliably do the actions all over it. But now you're taking points just to deal with the side effect of the double stress.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do agree with you on that point. It's not efficient at all by any means. And if it comes in at 4 or even, if this comes in at 5 points, it's dead on arrival. I absolutely agree with you. So this would have to be cheap in order for it to see any play whatsoever. There is some use for it in the resistance, because the resistance doesn't have much for jam at all. So this would probably be the first piece that can be like a dedicated jammer for the resistance that the resistance doesn't have at all. So it does have a place in it, but it's just going to depend on the points. But yeah, you're absolutely right. You know, it needs a lot of help. So yeah.
All right. The next one is Lando Calrissian. Oh my god. In the YT 1300, the general. They have 3 rechargeable energy. After you fully execute a red maneuver or perform a red action, you may spend any number of your energy to choose that many friendly ships at range 0 to 2. The chosen ships may perform an action even while stressed. This is amazing. If this comes in at 7 points, this will immediately rival Chewie, and being at an I love this. I love this. I love it. I like the fact that you can only recover the 1 energy, so it's kind of like Leia. You can use all 3 and have 1 amazing churn, but then you're gonna have to wait 2 churns to do anything. I think that's pretty fair and balanced, in my opinion. And I really think being able to come in and giving essentially 3 coordinates at one time, like, holy crap! Like, to me, this is an 8-point ship, but I bet you they're gonna give it to us for 7. To me, this really should be 8 points. But again, because they're not rechargeable, every one of them are rechargeable, and they don't have something like Jabba. If this comes in at 7 with a moderate amount of loadout points, I think this sees a lot of play personally, especially in resistance. I mean, you can run this with X-wings.
Mhm.
So, assuming that this still has the illicit slot, Babu Frick is going to be so great on this particular ship just to get rid of those stress tokens. And if it also is able to hold the Raised Millennium Falcon title, you can essentially execute your maneuver. You can, like, let's say you do a blue to remove the stress from previous turn, then you can do a red boost on the ship, and then use Lando's token on himself to still perform an action like a target lock or a focus. This
Yeah.
ship is very, very versatile. I 7 will be very competitive, and typically they do tend to price this to make it see play. But yeah, this could easily be an 8-point ship as well.
Not Taka. I'll never price Taka to see play.
Yeah. Yeah, and comparing this to the Poe pilot for the Falcon, what do you think is see play more, Poe or Lando?
Oh, that's so hard.
That is
If
hard. Yeah.
if Lando comes in at 7, Lando sees more play. I think Lando sees more play with all those stupid Y wings going up. Which again, I'm not super in agreement that all of them should gone up to 4 points. I mm,
I agree with that. Like, I think Lando will come in a little cheaper too, so I think Lando would see more play.
yeah, I do too. I think Poe is a little bit better. I mean, hell,
Mhm.
if he comes in at 7 and Poe comes in at 8, that's 15 points. You can run dual these things and still have 5 points to dick around with. You can run BB-8 and Finn with them.
Yeah.
And now you got dual. All right, we're just gonna stop talking because I don't like that. Anyway, moving on. Who wants JJ? You get this one. I'm not. Who wants
Sure.
this Doza?
I'll take it. So Benisa Doza. So, for those who have seen the Resistance show, this is Tora Doza's mother that we see in season 2, flying in the T-70. She comes in at Initiative 4 in the T-70 X-wing. She reads, "While you perform a torpedo or missile attack, you may treat the front arc requirements as a rear arc for that attack. If you do, treat the range requirement as range 1 to 2 for that attack." What automatically comes to my mind is a range 2 APT out the back from Beniza Doza. She flies past you and just launches that APT at range 2 behind her. And most likely, if your arc is not, if you're expecting to run short and she flies right past you, she's not going to get any shot back. She's just like the Crassus Trellix on Scum on the fire spray, with that special attack out the back. It is so good. I like this ability a lot. I am surprised that she's an Initiative 4 just based on the show. They made her seem like she's just as good as Poe. But for this particular ability, I could see why they had to dial it down to Initiative 4
We
just to
can't.
make it more fair. But yeah,
This is a mini fire spray,
bonkers.
JJ. This is a mini fire
Yeah,
spray.
yeah. If there's only a way to have you recharge those munitions on a T-70, this would be even better. But yeah, no, this is so good, so good. Heck,
And
even with a proton torpedo, you can do a range 1 proton torpedo as well.
all right, stop. You just stop it. Ban this card. This card's gonna get banned immediately.
Yeah, so good.
This card could come in at 6 points and it still sees play.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Well, Corey, you'll be very happy. This will become this might become your new L. All right, George, take us away with the Iron Assembler.
The Iron Assembler. All right. After a friendly ship at range 0 to 1 skips its execute maneuver step, you may spend 1 charge. If you do, if there is an asteroid or debris cloud at range 0 of it, that ship may repair 1 damage, and it has 3 charges that are non-recurring.
I love it.
I love this guy. Yeah, just the
Yeah.
fact that he can just here fix yourself.
Yep.
That's really good. Not much to say, but other than like, I'm gonna play this a lot.
How about this? George, hear me out. If you
Mhm.
get 8 loadout points, do you skip independent calculations and put a shield upgrade on this thing?
If you get 8 loadout points,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, why not?
I would.
Yeah, absolutely. Keep them alive.
If does this ability warrant it to be a 3-point ship or even possibly a 4-point ship?
Not 4. Never 4.
Yeah, it's going to be 3, most likely 3.
Yeah.
But 4 is a lot for a vulture.
How about this? You can still one-shot this thing. You know
Yeah.
that, though, right? Like, you
100%.
one-shot it, it's not going to do anything. This is going to come in at 2 points. It'll come in at 2 points. It's an I-1. I think this is a 2-point ship. I think you give it 8 loadout points and tempt me to take a shield upgrade and stop running Independence, because this thing is good. Like, this thing can circle rocks and just like keep whatever ship you want alive. I love this ship. I love this ship a lot.
I would absolutely run this with with Watt or even Seer, and just have K2B4 to give out the free evades to guarantee that you're only taking 1 damage on a vulture or on a hyena, because that would also work with a hyena as well, to trigger this ability more reliably, and then also strain your opponent as well. Like, it's totally worth to run this with attack droid to boost that defense.
Yeah, this ship right here can sit in the middle now. We now don't have to worry about putting a ship in the middle of the board and it getting ousted in one round.
Yep.
Oh, love it.
Yeah.
Yep.
I love it.
Straight, keep them on objectives.
All right.
Yeah.
JJ, you get the next one.
So, we have the Initiative 2 3-pipped Kelrudo I holdout pilot. It reads, after you are destroyed, you may transfer each of your locks and green tokens to another Kelrudo AI holdouts at range 0 to 3. It reads, modified for organics, the ship is not affected by the standardized restriction. Reduce the difficulty of your speed 2 and 3 bank maneuvers and increase the difficulty of your speed 3 turn maneuvers. So this essentially makes the ship modified for organic pilot. Now, my main question on this one is that I don't know if this is a typo, if this was intentional. The action bar in this has a calculate, a target lock, and then a barrel roll into focus.
I know.
Now, I don't know if it's intended to have both, because it very well could, right? The ship chassis.
Yeah.
Or if it's meant to have a focus token or actively for this particular ship. It's definitely very interesting for you to have that barrel into focus, because this actually forces you to play this differently and not use the struts. You probably won't be able to use the you're not going to be able to use the independent calculations on this one anyway. But yeah, this is a very interesting vulture, especially if it comes in at 2 points. This probably goes hand in hand with the Pinata tech droid. That when a friendly ship destroyed all the other ships that have a calculate on their action bar get a calculate token. This will pair very, very well into that list, especially if you can fit all 3 at 2 points apiece. Really strong.
So I do have a question though, and the home world for this has humans natively, right?
Yeah.
I don't know though. Did the Separatists go in for this or no?
Well, I know that there have been like actual pilots, not droid brains, that have flown like these ships. If you look at the Siege of Coruscant, one of the other pilots that we have there, I forget his name off the top of my head, but he also got into a tri-fighter to pilot it, and he was obviously an organic being flying these droids. So it does stand to reason that this would be similar to that. So I do believe that would be the case.
All right. I believe that is a typo, if we're being honest.
But which one is the typo? The focus or the calculate?
Yeah, the focus.
The calculate.
You think the calculate, really?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, mainly because of the modifier for organics. That's
Yeah.
why. That's
Okay.
that's my only reason. So, I kind of wish that it would stay as is, because that means that you could still equip this with Discord missiles, and still be able to launch them if you wanted to. But if it has a focus token, I'm still okay with that as well. I mean, if it has enough loadout, you can run prockets if you wanted to, and be okay with it. Or multi missile pods if it has the slots for it. But yeah, at 2 points, if it's a body that I could put in, I would absolutely run this every day.
Yeah, I don't know. I like calculates better. I'm in agreement with Greg. If this is not a misprint, which I guess whoever had this had the actual cards, and this is not something that's getting errated. I don't personally I don't know. I don't see this as being that great of a ship, especially if this comes in at 3 points. I don't. I
At
can run a
3
2
now.
point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At 3 points now, but at 2 points, absolutely. I would consider this actually over DFS.
Deslin barrage rockets or prockets? No. Like, don't. First off, stop giving droids barrage rockets. That's no. They'll get it once. They'll get it off once and they're dead. No. I don't like it. I guess I don't hate this ship. I think the ability to have the modified organics is kind of cool, right? Like I do think that's kind of cool. But like I'd rather personally, I would immediately just throw independent calculates on the stupid thing, because then I can't share them and it doesn't affect other loadouts. So what do I care? I can now run, and this is what pisses me off about AMG sometimes, is now I can run this stupid ship with a network calculate ship, and how many people are going to screw that up? Not on purpose, I'm sure, but whatever. Anyway, we're going to move on to the
Yeah.
ship. The ship that Tanner was right about. Who'd have told you it was going to have a native force? This guy right here. I told you this ship had a native force. I was right.
Yes. Go
Unless
ahead.
AMG comes back and says this is a misprint.
God, no. God,
we
no.
know it's not.
Jeez.
So Aurora Singh comes in and says, before you engage, you can spend 1 force to choose 2 enemy ships at range 0 to 1 to transfer any number of orange and red tokens between those 2 ships. So here's the first fact. It is a native force fire spray. It does not care about its ability ever again. Thank you, AMG, for trying to give us this ship, but nobody's like, I'm not going to spend my force to do this all the time, unless it's like super necessary, right? Now, what I did do, though, is I did have JJ pull all the red and orange tokens, such as depletes, ions, stress, strain, disarm, jam, and tractor. Now, I don't even care the point cost of this ship at this current time, personally, right? I don't care if this could come in at 9 points. I will tell you, I do think this ability is super like beneficial, right? I really do think that this ability will come into use, especially if you can find a ship that has a disarm token. If you could find a ship that has a jam token, because Django or somebody else had FTC, or you. So you FTC, you get FTC. So if you could take FTC on this thing, right? Somebody FTCs you, so you get screwed because that ship's not taking an action. It wants to get rid of your FTC, and then all of a sudden you go, oh, I'm going to spend a force and I'm going to transfer this jam token that you can't get rid of to the other ship that has a target lock on me. Hell yes. I don't think the ability is natively blank. I will say though,
it has its uses.
It's gonna be a little bit more nichey,
situational, but strong. And the fact that you can, you're just transfer between ships is great.
Yeah. The other red token that I forgot to add in there was a target lock as well. You can swap out if you have like a friendly target lock on one ship, and you can transfer to another ship. Like if they're out of arc just slightly, that's the other niche case on it. But yeah, I mean, the jam example is probably the best case scenario, or even if somebody's like ioned, like over ioned, and you're able to move that ion token from one enemy ship that already has enough ion tokens to another small ship. You can essentially ionize 2 ships with a force, which is really great there. Do you think this comes with a talent slot and a force slot?
Yes.
Yes.
Gosh,
Yeah.
trick shot, shadow shot, fire spray. Gosh, no. I'm gonna
Yeah.
fly it, but no.
Yeah. So think about it. You just need 17 points, baby, right? 17 points. Because trick shot, shatter shot, 7 points. Give me Savage for another 10. And now I can do my effing ability as well as the
As that
BS.
mod. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh gosh.
Yum.
Points wise, 9 points.
I say 7. I bet this is gonna come in at 7.
No way. This is less powerful than Django Fett. I'm sorry. Hell no. No way this
Yeah.
comes in at 7.
Yeah. I
You know what?
have a feeling it's 8. It's right
I
there with
will
Django.
I will throw down 5 subs to say that this is not 7 points when it comes out. It's recorded live right here.
All right. AMG, why don't you make it like 100 subs? Damn it.
it's a before you engage. It's not even like a hit. You don't have to do anything. It's just before you engage, which is great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
How about this? I love this fire spray so much. It could come in at 8 points, and I would still run this and then Django at 8 points, and then 2 vultures.
Yeah.
Really.
I kind of wish that and this is just like a side note. I kind of wish that this pack did come with some upgrade cards as well. Like for instance, back with the Lando Millennium Falcon, I really wish that we were gotten like a wedge gunner just to make it thematic, and Aura Singh with some of the other bounty hunters like Young Boba, and I forget who else was in the crew that we see in Clone Wars, just to make this a little more thematic. But yeah, still I'm excited to see Aura Singh come into the game, even at I4. It's really great.
Mm-hmm.
I say 7 points. Give it to me at 7.
Not happening. Even though I'm a separatist player, I know it's not happening.
All right. Well, that was my excitement. I'm sorry.
Heck yeah.
I was super excited.
Heck
It's
yeah.
now on to you all.
Yep. So the last cards that we got here, these are the remaining cards from the Siege of Coruscant pack that's coming out soon. So this first card here is a Tri-Fighter. We have an Initiative 3 DIS 347. It reads, at the start of the engagement phase, you may acquire a lock on an object at range 1 to 3 that has a friendly lock. It also comes with network calculations. This comes in with marksmanship, afterburners, and contingency protocol. Okay, at best. I mean, this is still obviously going to be a 4-point ship. If this comes in at 3 points, it'll be great, but I'm 100% sure. Actually, we know that this actually is a 4-point ship, so
we already know the points.
Not excited on it.
Oh, and guess what? It doesn't have another hull upgrade like all the effing TIE fighters.
Yeah, exactly.
There's the love there.
Yeah.
Nobody likes TIE fighters. What the?
Like I would actually maybe I would trade out afterburners for another hull upgrade.
Yeah.
How about this? We're gonna give CIS a native force fire spray, but we can't give any love to Tri-Fighters.
Yeah. I had
but we're
no
gonna
idea
make
why.
more of them.
Yeah. Now, the next Tri-Fighter, I am absolutely 100% excited about, especially if it's at 4 points, which I believe it is. So this is the return of the I-5 Tri-Fighter, the Flak Afrak, a prototype. I definitely butchered that. So this one here, it says, at the start of the engagement phase, if there's an enemy ship in your bullseye, it gains a calculate token. This also comes with necro calculations. This comes with afterburners, contingency protocol, and a new upgrade that we haven't seen. This one is evasion sequence. While you perform a red evade action, if there's an obstacle or scenario feature at range 1, treat the action as white instead. So if you do a 3 or faster speed, you can afterburners, then do a barrel roll into red evade. And if you meet the requirements of being near an obstacle or scenario feature, that red evade that you just barrel rolled in, it turns white. And then on top of that, if you have your enemy in your bullseye, you get a calculate token on top of it. This is going to be a very, very good fighter at Initiative 5 that can art dodge. And if I'm not mistaken, the scenario feature would also apply to regular scenarios like assault at the satellite array and scramble.
I don't know. We'd have to go look that up. That's a good question, actually.
Yeah, I think that this is going to see play definitely in standard.
I think so too. I think at 4 points, this is again, you're trading 2 vultures for it. I don't know. I still don't like I think the Tri-Fighter is in a really bad spot, but I think the fact that it becomes a white evade and you get a calculate out of it is just pretty good. Like, I think it's an I5 on top of that, so it can outmaneuver. I don't know. I agree with you. I think this will see some play. I don't know if we'll see 2 of them in play. It'll probably just be 1, but it would be a pretty bloody good scramble the transmission, type ship that you can fly in there, scramble, and then live after that, because you're gonna get your calculate. I don't know, and it's got network calculates on it. I like it. I think this is, out of all of them, this is probably one I would probably play.
Yeah, I would probably either use the K2B4 for the evades on this one, or if you're more aggressive, Kraken, just so you can already go with a calculate token and get a second calculate with a bullseye. That's going to make the ship much more tankier to take down, and you'll be able to do a lot with it. So yeah.
Mhm.
All right, George, you get. I think this is our last one.
Yep,
Nope,
it's the last one.
We have 2 more.
Oh, there's 2 more. You got 2 more.
All right, you get DBS 404. George.
DBS 404. While you perform an attack at attack range 1, you must roll 1 additional die. After the attack hits, suffer 1 critical damage. He's already a fighter, though, but he actually comes with network calculations, advanced proton torpedoes, contingency protocol, and strut lock overrides, which you're not a fan of. But I think it's okay.
They're dumb. You land on a. You can sit on a rock for 1 turn. That's it. Stupid.
So I'll tell you what. I do like the ability with advanced proton torpedoes. This thing is gonna hurt.
6 dice. Yeah, that's. Yeah. Oof.
That being said, it's probably gonna live maybe 1 round. That's it.
But you do know, like, it loses its ability. We lose that ability though. Like, it used to be range 0 to 1. I don't like this one as much.
I gotcha.
But on the opposite side, you don't have to suffer the crit at range 0 now. So there is a little bit of an upside at that. If you do run in at range 0 and do shoot at range 0, you no longer have to, like, suffer the crit.
Right.
For it. I don't know. Whatever. If this comes in at 3 points, I'll. Does this come in at 3 or 4 points?
I'll tell you right now. I'm actually looking it up right now. I believe it's actually
I'm thinking 4.
A 3-pointer.
No, I think it's 4.
Well, we'll see. If it does come in at 3.
No, it might.
It is 3 points, guys.
You're right.
It is 3 points.
Right. I'm wrong.
So I think this has a little bit more viability at 3 points. Even George, if it dies in 1 round, right? Like, as long as you get your ability off that once, I mean, that 6 dice banger, that's pretty good. You're not even caring about calculates. You're taking target locks now. So, and you can share calculate. I don't know. At an I4, I like it. So,
yeah.
All right. The last one we have here is the Bactoid prototype with, their special ability now says, while you perform a special attack, if a friendly ship with the network calculate ability has a lock on the defender, you may ignore the requirement, which I believe was the same one as they have already had. They don't get homing torpedoes, though. They give you homing missiles, and then you get the contingency and the stupid lock override, which I despise. I don't know. I would never put homing some missiles on this thing. So I don't know. I guess.
So I mean, typically, right? Most of the people were running the bombardment drone, right? Because you can launch that forward proxy mine. This still is a 3-point hyena. That's only initiative 1, unfortunately. If you're able to get a ship that already has gives out target locks, and this will trigger the homing missile. if you're engaging the Republic that has the Adas with 3 hull, taking 2 homing missile shots, that's gonna do a lot of damage for a Jedi, especially if they've already been hit once. You can basically delete a Jedi automatically right there. It does have some uses, but honestly, it's a hard sell for me to run this version where you have 32C, which is really good with the calculating to jam, and then even 404 with the 6 thigh APT. It's harder for me to really look at this particular hyena bomber over the other ones, which are the same, higher initiative, and they have better abilities. So.
Yeah, I agree with you there. If maybe if it was like homing torpedoes,
Yeah.
could be different. But yeah,
If it was homing torpedoes, I would agree.
Yeah.
All right.
And
Well,
that's
that's going to do it, I think, for the all of the new cards. Deslin did confirm for us that the satellites cargo are indeed scenario features, so that makes some of that a little bit better. To be
Chance
honest with you,
engagement.
yep, like that makes that tri-fighter a little bit more viable, and I think that might be one I put on the table. I do think I might
Yeah.
try that one.
Yeah, that
Especially if you want to go
Django
to more AC. Ooh, yeah, you could put that with Aurora, right?
what are saying, yeah.
That Django. All right. We got all 4, 5, and 6 there.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're gonna that list that I've been running with Django plus tri-fighters, I'm definitely putting those flak droids in there instead of the predator the prey ones. Yeah, that's so good. It's gonna be so good. Especially if you get one that can do if the one that can give out calculates. Oh man, that's a really good. So
Yeah, I think so too. I think so too. But we'll see, right? I think we'll see. I think it's definitely worth a test play. We'll put it that way.
absolutely.
So, well, all right. Well, thank you all for joining us this week. We had a little bit longer episode. We are going to do Andor. We are going to take a 3-minute break here in just a second. To refuel, I need a little bit. I actually drank through a whole thermos of water while we were sitting here. Probably because I was yelling so much about how amazingly I guessed it.
I thought it was Finn, but yeah.
I'm not going to compare Ando to Chinese checkers, Greg. You're just jealous that I have a chess and X-Wing segment, which, by the way, next week we will be finishing up our X-Wing chess analysis with our in-game discussion. Will officially be done next week. If you have a suggestion for game theory that you would like us to cover going forward, you are welcome to pop into our Discord, or you could put it on Greg's Discord and tag me and Greg at the same time and be like, here, this would be a good idea for Tanner's podcast. Just because you can. But if you would like to join us next week, we will be rounding out that segment that we've done. And again, I promise I will, now that I have done with all my wedding stuff, I will edit all those segments up, and we'll have a special channel on our YouTube just for our game theory for it as well. So also, just a quick announcement before we go to break for a second. So we want to thank you, George, for filling in for Charles over the past 2 or 3 months that you've joined us. George will be more of a background person on and off when they have time. He is in the middle of preparing to move, so he will not be able to commit to every week like he had been. But we do want to thank you from the bottom of our heart, George, for joining us for the last 3 months. It's been fun.
absolutely,
Yeah, great.
Thank you.
I'm sad. I'm sad to lose my CIS compadre here.
We'll keep chatting. We'll keep sharing lists and stuff on Discord and everything. So yeah.
So we can't guarantee George will be back every week. Maybe George will join us for our last end of the our last segment for the thing if he can. If not, we will see George around as he comes. With that being said, thank you all for joining us. have a good night, and we will see you next week, Sunday, 9 p.m. Eastern.